Good morning and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is your girl Nicole, your official gem dropper. I'm here to do a part 2 on the video that I did on last week about learning the lessons or you're guaranteed to repeat it. This is a video about once the lesson is identified, then healing is able to take place. And I'm going to share a personal testimony of mine, how that healing was able to take place once it was actually identified, because I repeated patterns in my life for years and I never understood that I was supposed to learn. I was learning a lesson. There was a lesson that needed to be learned about myself. So I repeated it for years in my life. And one of the things that I was habitual for is running into red flag relationships. I would always date the same type of guy, the same type. It would be a different character, but it would always be the same type with the same outcome. And this repeated for years in my life, and I never understood why. And about 2 months ago, I was getting up very early. I like to get up before everybody to meditate. So it was around 4 o'clock in the morning, but before I meditated, I was just sitting on the sofa, and all of a sudden, it was like I just heard the voice of God within me begin to talk to me about why I repeated those types of relationships. And it was like all of a sudden I was taken in a vision. It was like I was taken in a vision back to my mother's pregnancy. My mother was a teen mother. She was 16 when she had me. And it was like I saw the events around her pregnancy, about being a teen mother. She was 16. There was a lot of shame there. There was a lot of rejection there because there was so much confusion about who was actually my father, and nobody wanted to come forth and claim me. So there was a lot of confusion about, this ain't my baby, this ain't my baby. So it was a lot of rejection, and she also felt rejection. I saw that in the vision, and that rejection was projected onto me. So I felt that rejection, from the womb, from birth. So me and my mother never really had that mother-daughter connection. We've never had that. And I never understood why. So the rejection that I felt as a child, because we were never really able to connect, I felt that rejection, and I thought it was something wrong with me. And when you're a child, you don't understand how to process what that feeling is. You think it's something wrong with you. So when you feel rejected, you just want to be accepted. And when you know you're there, but you're just being tolerated, you carry that layer as well. So as a child, I was shown in the vision that even during my childhood, that's where all of that began, the rejection, wanting to be accepted, because I'm thinking, if I'm being rejected, then it's something wrong with me. I didn't understand that she was suffering from trauma herself. So throughout life, I would get into relationships just wanting to be accepted. And when you're in a place where you want to be accepted, you will accept just about anything not to be rejected. So I would walk into these red flag relationships when people who are seeing life through a clear filter would stay away from them, because I saw life through a filter of rejection. I would run toward it and cling on to it because I would do anything not to be rejected. And I never understood this is why situations were never able to work out. This is why there was a repeated pattern of unhealthy relationships. But once I understood where that rooted, where that came from childhood, then I was able to look back on my life and say, wow, that actually makes sense. this is why I was doing this. It all made sense because I didn't understand why I would walk into those relationships. I never understood. It wasn't the men, it was something with me that needed to be healed. And then it caused me to look at my mother's situation different as well, to understand she was suffering from trauma herself and she needed healing as well. So I was able to embrace the information that I was receiving in the vision, and I was able to, in my heart, forgive her and to forgive myself and to forgive the men in my life, because now I understood it from a different standpoint, that they were here to teach me, well, playing a role so that I can learn a lesson about myself, to learn that I had deep hurt, deep pain on the inside of me that actually needed to be healed. And what we don't understand is the enemy is not necessarily outside of us. The enemy that is on the inside of us is they're the unhealed wounds that are on the inside of us that cry out for attention because they want to be acknowledged and they also want to be healed. So when we don't acknowledge it, that's when we have instances where we seem like we sabotage things in our lives. We have, failed marriages, failed relationships, can't keep a job, things like that. It's because these are traumas that are on the inside of us that actually want to be acknowledged and want to be healed. And once we are healed from this situation, that's when we can take the layer off and we can take that filter off and we can see life clearer. From every instance that we are able to identify the root cause, we begin to see life clearer and our light will begin to shine brighter. And as our light begins to shine brighter through the removal of the layers, that's when we begin to identify who we actually really are. So I want to challenge each and every one of you on this day to go within, because God is on the inside of each and every one of us, contrary to popular belief. He's on the inside of each one of us, and he is not desiring to see us hurt, because the real pain comes from when you know something is wrong and you don't know what's causing it. So go within to find out the root of the problem so that healing can begin to take place, so we can take that layer off, so that we begin to see life clearer. On the removal of each layer, life becomes clearer and we begin to see exactly who we are, and our lights will begin to shine how they were originally intended to shine, bright. So take the baton, go within, acknowledge the pain, acknowledge the trauma, and allow healing to take place. And this is my testimony for you today. Take what resonates with you and leave the rest. And I hope it helps someone. Have a blessed day.